All right, good. All right, so I'm going to record this again just in case for later and find a place to save it later. Okay, no problem. Happy to. You can't see my screen anymore, Crystal? And the others?
No, I can't, Rob.
All right, Suzette can. All right. Mine says it's still on. It says I'm still presenting.
Yep, and my screen says that you are. I just can't see you.
Oh, you don't see anything on my screen?
Nope, I see a black screen.
Oh. Okay, what if you try, all right, I'll try not sharing for a second. Let me see if that will reset things. Stop presenting. Okay, do you see the video now?
I do not. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Nothing at all, huh? All right, what if you try just exiting and coming back in?
Okay,
Maybe,
that's what
maybe
I'll do.
something. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So again, we will give another minute or so for people to come back in. Crystal, chance to come back in.
I'm back, Robin. I can see you.
You can?
Yes.
Okay, good. Something went wrong. All right. You're all fixed up. Perfect. So yeah, we'll wait another minute or so. It's only 4 past. But again, as you guys are waiting, if you want to go to this joinpd.com and enter in, it'll just ask you for a code. This will be the code that you'll put in. And what you'll be doing is you'll be experiencing it from the student end to start with. And then I'll go through how I did this and the teacher end, and then how you can do this asynchronously so that you could just give it to students at any point in time and have them complete it at their own time and pace. And this is going to be definitely a crash course. I apologize ahead of time to everybody in this and anybody who watches this video maybe later. This was definitely thrown together in about, less than an hour's worth of time here just to try to get something out to you to experience things. So it's not polished, but it'll do the job, I think. All right, let's see what we got going on. You guys are all set. 9, good enough. All right. All right, so I say we might as well get rolling at this point. I got 4 of you in, it looks like. So again, if you want to try to open up a new tab, you can go to joinpd.com and ask you for a code right away. You enter in the QWMHL. This is just a quirky little thing that they put on the bottom just to make it amusing for kids. You don't have to type in any words there. All right. Pretty good. All right. So on your screen, you're seeing the first slide. So what I'm doing right now is I took a Google Slides document here, and I have just kind of supersized it here with this Pear add-on. And again, we'll go over the installation piece and how to get to all that at the end. I'm going to go over the experience of it and what it offers first. That way, if you're like, get to see what it offers, you're like, it's not for me. You don't have to worry about it, the end part of how to install it. So all I did is I made a Google Slides on here, and I then selected, hey, I want to interact this with as a Pear Deck add-on and present it, and that's what you're seeing now. All right, so we're going to start. As you can see here, I can invite a Google Classroom class. I can just get the link to this, which is going to help us later on when we talk about being asynchronously. And we'll talk about what the teacher end looks like as we go along. Okay. So if you're in this, if you've gone to the site and you're in this slideshow right now, I kind of have control over what you're seeing and doing right now, even though we are obviously remote and not even in the same area. I can advance this back and forth, and it should change on your screen automatically. You don't have, right now, you don't have the control to advance on your own. I can also at this point, oh, because it's not interactive. Well, I'll show you. You can also like, lock their screen kind of. Now, it doesn't lock your device. It's kind of like I've hacked into your device from mine. It's just this tab, this slideshow becomes locked at that point. And you'll see that as we go along. So again, it's a great resource that I've come to use a lot. Okay. It makes your Google Slides interactive instead of passive, where kids just kind of sit and get from it. You can make them answer as you go along, and then you get reports about what they answered, and you can give it back to them, and you can have discussion. You can present their information. If any of you have used Desmos before, it's similar to that as far as displaying answers as they go along. And as a side note, since I know Danielle and Suzette are in here, I just read something yesterday that Desmos opened up a new feature which allows you to provide written feedback to individual student answers as you go along. So that might be something to check out later on. Yeah. All right. So yeah, again, Pear Deck, it makes your slides interactive, engages students, gives you a variety of answers options. We're going to go through a whole bunch of them. That's what I've kind of set up for you now in this presentation, is to experience some of them and see what you can do with it. It can really hit every subject area. Science, math, social studies, language, world language, ELA. A lot of those, you can find ways to have it work for you. Premium version is free. It's one of the companies that's making everything free for quite a while. And the premium version is pretty sweet. Things that it does. It's still worth it when it's not premium, I think. It's obviously some things are limited. I'm gonna talk about what that is later. And then one of the big key things here is that with the premium version, you can send students a copy of their responses at the end of the slideshow when I click end here and finalize it. Hopefully all of you on your Google account, when you access this and ask for your sign-in information, and then you will get a copy of your responses that we do, and you can see what that looks like. Your responses are made in a Google Doc. Oh, get out of here. I didn't say okay. Stupid Google Assistant. So Pear Deck, I'll show you just quickly takeaways that I can publish. So when people are sent back their responses, it's sent back as a Google Doc, and it's like this. So I did this training earlier in the year with Mr. Burby and a few others, and there's the slides that I had, and this was his answer to it. So if I wanted to go back and make comments for a student, I could go find it in my Google Drive, right? It makes a folder said Pear Deck, and I can find the takeaways. And I can go to that document and make a comment here if I wanted to comment on their individual work, just like you normally would. All right, so you'll get one of these at the end, and you'll be able to experience that more firsthand. Thanks. Here we go. All right. When we get to the point of needing to get it, how do you get it in the first place? Well, it's an add-on. Frank Rapp was very quick enough to turn it on for all of us earlier this morning. It was great. He was all over it. So everybody should be able to access and get this add-on at some point. So you'd go to peardeck.com. Where's my? I'm signed in here, so it's going to look different. But you go to peardeck.com and you would log in and or make an account. And then once you make an account, you go to your add-ons, which is always a menu on your Google Slides. And you would get the add-on, and it's usually right there, right in front of you, Pear Deck. You click that, you install it, you click yes, you can have rights to all my privacy to Google so they can know everything about you as they already do. And then it shows up here. And again, I'll go through that more in depth, and I'll make a new one and show you how that will look. But that slide's there just in case you need to reference it again later. All right, so now I've just advanced the slides, and what you'll see on your end as a student end is a multiple choice question. Okay, so you have the options on the side now where you have 4 different choices of you've used it, you feel great, you have used it some but still new, haven't used it but you've heard of it, and all this is all new to me. I'm actually going to join as well and show you, since I'm recording, show you this end of it. All right, so you're seeing this similar thing. And again, this is just a Google slide, so I could have written any instructions I wanted to on this slide. That's this one right here. That's where I really like Pear Deck, because there's a lot of different things out there that does similar things to make it interactive, make slides interactive. But if you're already using Google Slides, this is just a small step to enhance them. There's not a big learning curve, in my opinion, because all you gotta do is make Google Slides, open up this Pear Deck page, and boom, you've got some interactiveness to it. So if you're already comfortable with Google Slides, it says that the next step isn't that hard. So I could have put any instructions, a picture, I could have done anything. I didn't really, again, doll it up this time around because I was just quickly putting some information out. So you see that, right? You can X that. All right, people, as soon as you answer, as soon as you click, it shows up on my end. So I'll go to my teacher end. I can show you, show responses. So here we are. Okay, so this is coming in live on my end, the teacher end. I've got this dashboard down below that says hide responses. Again, this is where now that's an interactive slide. People are still typing or you're still doing work. I'm like, all right, let's talk about what's going on up here, and they're still doing different stuff. I'll unlock it in a second if you haven't answered, so don't worry. But as you can see, if I click lock screens, if we're doing this synchronously, so use this as your own, should we ever be meeting live again in a classroom, you can see, all right, I've locked responses so that you kind of have to wait. I haven't locked your computer, but I've locked that one tab. I can unlock it for you. So I can see what's going on, right? If I wanted to see more in depth as we go along, I can open up my dashboard. And I can see now a lot more detail to it, right? And I can also do that up here, right? This is that I can change the view here, the grid layout. I can see it like this, but I mean, multiple choice, I don't know why I would see it like this. It comes in handy later on. For multiple choice, I'd leave it like that. But on my teacher dashboard, I could have this be on a separate screen. I could do a screen mirroring where this main one I'm presenting in the classroom and this one I have on just my device. However you want to mix it up so you don't have to show this part of it. But then I can hover over and I can see who answered what. If I wanted to see specifics, I can then go to grid layout and see here it tells me names. Whereas on here that I'm presenting to the class, it's all anonymous. So I can reference this later on, and let's make it alphabetical. I can reference this later on and be like, what did so-and-so answer? I can go back and check what they put down instead. But here, just for general discussion, I don't have to put a kid's name to it. All right. That's that piece. And I can highlight, like if I wanted to only show a few certain responses, if I wanted to show these first 3 ones only, if you notice I click the stars, those are the only ones that showed up here. So if I see this teacher view and I'm at this, I haven't shown the responses yet. I'm looking at the responses on my own device. I'm like, oh, all right, well, this, Larry's still saying some inappropriate stuff here. I don't want to show his answer. I can highlight a bunch of others, and then when I go to show responses, I can be like, all right, well, look at these people.
You know me so well, Rob.
Yeah, so well. You rebel, you, yeah. I can also hide theirs completely. So instead of starred ones, I could then just say I'm going to hide theirs only. So if that's the one I want to do, I can just get rid of their response and then it grays out, but then I can put it back on. All right. moving on to the next piece. So I'm going to go through a bunch of these slides. I'm going to show you all the different options that you can do. Well, most of the different options that you can do with the Pear Deck add-on here about different answer types. So this one is a slide, it's like a drag and drop slide. So you can put in your dot. You should see a big red circle, and then you got to put it on, which one you believe doesn't belong in this case. So it could be a variety of options. It's one of those games. Here's 4 things, which one doesn't belong type deal, and people come up with different ways of thinking about it. But again, this is just an image. I went to Google Slides. I made it interactive, but I put an image that I quickly found online and I just slapped it on. And now with the Pear Deck add-on, it's interactive, and you've made your ability to drag things. So again, if I go to show responses, I can see live people. You can literally see people dragging their dots around. Right, so I'm actually also using Sarah's account on a separate computer here, so I'm going to drag this dot way off to the left. You can see this is the one I just dragged on Sarah's computer. I also have mine like this, right? So I can put it wherever. You can have the responses. So again, if I want to go see more detail, I can go to this teacher dashboard that I have. Oops. There we go. I can go to the teacher dashboard that I have, and I can see grid layout 1 by 1. That changes it on here as well. And I can see different names, the list layout. So I can scroll through myself on the teacher dashboard with names, or I can scroll through 1 by 1 on the presentation part. Okay, you have different, and you can change the layout up here. All right, so then the next piece here. So now, just to demonstrate, the ability to have different answer types here. So now I'd say, all right, why did you choose that one? I didn't want to put it in the same slide, but you have a chance here to explain yourself. And you can type whatever. You don't have to worry about a formal response right now. Just put up a bunch of gibberish if you need to. And then again, I can go to the responses, right? See what people are typing, right? So I can see blah, 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 all these. Okay, I can see it in this view. I can present them this way. Okay, so you have your text. So far you've got dragging, you've got the text slide, you had your multiple choice that we went over. We'll move on. Right, so again, if you could slap any image on here, so I could put any mathematical image, and you have the ability to draw, which again is difficult with some things, but it's still better than none. You can actually just have them do text too. They can actually, if I wanted to put an X, they could just type an X and drag it over. Make their own symbol, so to speak. Or again, if maybe they have their iPad devices or whatever it is, they can so you can have them mark wherever themselves. So you could have them draw graphs, you could have them demonstrate, you could have them write out. If they have the ability to write, you could have them actually write out as a draw. They can have them write out their equation if they had one, whatever it is. You can have them write their work if you so chose. They can change the size so it's a little bit more manageable. But you can do that type of stuff on here as well. And again, if I go back to the dashboard, you can see the different responses. Nice. Grid layout, overlay. I can see the overlay, kind of like with the dots where you drag and drop. I can see where everybody put their stuff and see, where they centered, or are they way off, or whatever it is. and I can go find individual names back on my teacher dashboard. Okay. Move on to show you another item. Again, we're just pounding through. So those are math examples. Obviously, I've used it for math quite a bit for students to be able to drag and things, or to type responses, or to give their own feedback about activities that we do. So here's another one, right? So social studies we're looking at, maybe, you could, just to show that you could have them right over. Again, you can put any image you want on the Google slide. You can have them drag or write or whatever it is to annotate that image, basically however you want. So you can have them then now move icons to try to find all these different locations. Right? And then I can, say Australia's over here, Africa, Asia, Europe. I can be way off, and then if I go to the teacher dashboard, I can kind of see, like, whoa, okay, somebody put the red flag way over here. I can see what the response is and see that type of stuff. Where are we at? Oh, I'm on my student one. There we go. Okay, and then move on. So, science application, again, you can have them diagram cells, you're going to have them locate, circle, drag things to match, right? If it's a drag option, you can create ways to make them drag different items, and you can put a picture on, and you can have them match things. A whole bunch of options, anything that your creativity can desire. So now, all right, where's the winter? You can drag things around. You can see. All right, so there's drag, multiple choice. There's a few others. I didn't put them all in here, but there's a few other options as well, and I'll show you that in a second. And again, I'm seeing this as a teacher view right now, so I can see where people are putting stuff live. Okay. Okay. I think you get the point about the teacher view and the dashboard and such, so I'm not going to keep going back and forth there. And lastly, again, real quick, here's a couple of links you can explore and see. This remote learning link, kind of their response to this whole coronavirus shutdown and stuff, about what they're doing, and it's a way for you to get the premium version should you want to explore it. There's a link in here, right here at the bottom, learn more. It's Pear premium access during this time, which is all the features that I showed you. That's on there. And then the other link, the Orchard, is their resources that they already have, pre-made templates that people have made or that they have made, of archives or templates about certain subjects. They do integrate with Newsella. So they have some news articles on there, and then a follow-up Google slide that goes, or Pear Deck Google slides that go with it. Weekly wonders, those types of discussion starter points. They have an option of or a place of resources for all those, so you can explore as well. So as I'm going along here, like everything that I just did was pre-made, and you kind of have to pre-make it. And once you click present, it like saves where you're at. These 10 slides, it saved where I was at. And if I go to add a slide right now onto my Google slides what this was made from, it's not like it just appeared on yours. I don't have an 11th slide to click on, because again, it saves where you're at. But right now, they have some pre-made ones real quick on here that I can add to it, and it will put it in live. It's a small selection. Well, actually, it's not that small. It's a decent selection, but it's limited to what they already have. So again, now you have this option to do a exit tick at the end. Like, oh man, I forgot to throw that on. I need to throw on a what do you wonder, or, write something to reflect on what we just did. You can throw those on real quick at the end here. All right, so you guys are going all right. Awesome. That's pretty good. I'm glad. Again, for a crash course, I'll take that. So again, that's the student end of things that you just experienced and what I saw as a teacher end. I'm going to go over now, if everyone's okay, unless there's questions about anything. Just checking the chat. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. You guys are good. Can you use it on an iPad, a touchscreen? Oh yes, definitely. You can use it on a touchscreen. That's definitely advisable to me. It's even easier, just like most things. I think if they have a touchscreen to be able to draw or drag, it's a lot better, in my opinion. They don't even need an app. In fact, there's no app for them to download on it. They just go to that joinpd.com and put in the code, and then they can access it. So it's not like it's a special thing they have to download. All right, so if we're all set, I'm just going to go in about making it and the ease of that, and then also the asynchronous part of it. Because honestly, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to be doing for my kids each week. I'm going to make a Pear Deck slideshow with whatever topic we're going to be covering, and either have them draw on things or write their responses and type it out. Again, here's all your options. They can text, they can type out their word, multiple choice. Number, that just means their answer has to be a number. It won't accept any sort of words. That can be useful sometimes. A website, if I want to direct them to that. I haven't used that much. That's why I didn't include it in this slide deck. Draw and drag, which obviously, these four right here are the top ones. If you don't have premium, or when premium runs out, it's limited to these first three, right? The draw and drag are the cool ones, so of course that they're the premium ones. But I mean, hey, if we all use it enough, everyone loves it, it'd be worth looking into potentially. But yeah, even then, I just use text and multiple choice and number. I get plenty out of it. You can be creative enough for them to explain their work or whatever is going on with just those three options. So here, just real quick to show you, all I have to do to make this, and I'll go back over this again later, to make this asynchronous is just turn on student paste. So that was a menu under my options with the three dots, and I just turn it on. And then now you have the freedom at the bottom of the left of your screen. I'll just name this real quick. Crash course. At the bottom left of your screen, you have the ability now to scroll as you like, right? This is my student view. I can go back and forth at whatever pace I want. So when the time comes for my students, because again, I'm going to do this each week with them, have them here. When the time comes for my students, I'm just going to start a slideshow on Pear Deck, turn on, allow students to have their own pace, and then they can go through this. And then once they're done, they're done. Like again, it saves it live, right? There's no turn it in. There's no save button or anything like that. Once they do it, it's done. If I exit out, it's like if I exit out of student view right now, all my information's still there, right? If I go to the teacher dashboard, and I go to the, right, so there's my, right, I was under my student account, my answer still shows right here. So even though I exit out, it saves it automatically. So once student pace is on, they can do it anytime, anywhere. All they need is the link and the code, which I'm going to post in Google Classroom. So again, that's my plan for this remote learning, is having a Pear Deck that they can experience and go through and show their work or explain their thinking. I'm also doing this. I'm also doing this activity matrix as a bonus thing for them, where instead of a list of activities, it's just laid out in a grid, which for some reason makes it more fun, I guess. I don't know. So I'm going to do this for them that they can do at any time, with a couple puzzles attached, and some of them are just, just fun ones. Take a selfie of your best concentration face, just something like that for them to interact and not be too stressed out over all of this. But then some of them are, complete this puzzle from open middle to be able to work on, so it's a mix. And then I'm going to have them do IXL practice. That's going to be my program for the kids, is complete a Pear Deck, do IXL over that topic, and then have this extra play around matrix of activities. And again, I'm doing that by turning on student pace, giving them the link and letting them do it for the week. All right, so before I end this session, I'm going to show you the teacher and how to make things, and then I'll end the session and show you what the feedback form looks like for you afterwards. All right, so let's go through this. To make one, right? I will even just start fresh. So I'm just going to my drive, opening up Google Slides. Again, I've already gone to, no, I did not say that. I've already gone to Pear Deck and made my account and such. So you can see here, all I did was go to Google which one doesn't belong, and I just drag that image in. I'll save that and show you here in a second how quick that is. So I've already gone in and obviously had it as an add-on, and it's already here in my information. So what I would do is I would just go first and say, all right, here's my Google slide, here's my activity on integers, right? Make another slide, whatever information I want to type, blah, blah, blah. Then I would now say, if I wanted to have them do work on it, what does a negative number represent? Okay, so I make all my slides. I got my pictures in there. If I wanted to drag an image, I could just find or I could even do a number line if I wanted to label things, right? So I could just drag this image into here. So actually, just to show you, locate, 4 minus 6. So now I'm like, all right, I want them to drag something and put a dot there. So I'm going to go to my add-on, Pear Deck, which is here, open it up. And here's my menu now. This is awesome over here. There's so much stuff over here. I've got these right here. So if I want to ask them a question that's on a slide I've already made, like this one, all I got to do is choose which one I want for them. So I want them to drag something. So I click drag. It's going to ask me, all right, what do I want them to drag? You have all these options here. We'll make it an arrow. You can change the size of it. I don't need it too big. Update my slide.
Okay, now I want to be able to get this on my wall.
I didn't catch that. Okay. So now I don't see an icon here to drag, but they will when I go to present, right? If I go to present lesson and all of this, they will end up seeing that. So that's the drag one. Now they would be able to move that over. So that's if I already made a slide. I choose one of these. Now they already have. If I don't want to take the time to doctor it all up, like like this one, right? I threw some ones here. I did not go and make this look like that. I'm not that good at designing that. So if I go to their library, their templates, they have a ton here, a bunch. They have subjects. They have, beginning of the lesson activities, standard ones, during the lesson, end of lesson, exit tickets, reflections that you can just throw in. So these ones, the templates, if I click them, it will make a whole new slide on here, right? So it didn't edit the slide I was on. It made a whole new one. And it's already done. It's there. It's a text slide, as it tells me right here. So they're going to get a little text box on the side like you did, and they'll type in their answers, and boom, you have your work. You can just throw it in. That's what I did for this one today. Again, being such a crash course, I just went, all right, what do you got for me already made? So here's a math one, drawing slide. Label things on these shapes. To throw that in, it's going to make another slide. Here we go. They've made it. I can go back and find social studies ones, world languages. They have matching terms. And again, you can edit these too. Like, yes, like, all right, that's pretty good. I like what it gives me, but I don't want exactly what it shows. Maybe I overload it. All right. So let's say, all right, friend was absent today from class. What would you tell? Oh, there we go. So this one had finally showed up. Like, all right, well, I want to throw in some, red herring here and label something else and blanking all my French now, but we'll put a, but, and then I think that's pineapple. I don't know if I spelled it right. So I could edit things. I don't want this picture here. I can change the picture. You can edit it exactly like a Google slide, which again, a lot of people are more comfortable with, which is why I love what Pear Deck does, because it just takes what you're comfortable with, and all it does is take one little step of doing this add-on, and you can make it interactive and powerful. I've made it mad. Got too much stuff going on. There we go. So again, you've got all these templates here that you can edit or just throw in there and just call it good. They have a whole bunch of suggestions already. If you have an image and you just want to put an image on there and be like, all right, here's an image. I want you to drag and find things, or I want you to graph and write, or whatever it is, they can just write over it, right? It makes whatever you put on here, it makes it possibly interactive, to type, to drag, to write, etc. And once you have it all done, all you gotta do is click Present Lesson. And that's what I did to start this, and it will give you this login just like usual, right? So what we're gonna wanna do, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to do give students a link. So it's gonna copy to the clipboard. So now, if I were to email or post that, I'm gonna post on Google Classroom, actually. I'll go just do that and just delete it so they don't get confused. So if I go here and I paste it, there it is, right? There's the link to it, app.peardeck.com. It has the code, everything in it. All they got to do is go to that. If I go to it, let's see what happens if I. Yeah, see, it takes them right to it. They don't need the code to enter it in. It's all in this URL for them, so they can go through it. Then all I have to do on the teacher end, what you would have to do is make sure that once you don't have to have students in here to have it run, make sure you turn on student pacing. Right? After you share the link with them and you start this, turn on student pacing, and you're good. Okay? Leave. So if I click end on this fake one I just made, I would say leave and allow students to keep working because it's on student mode. If I click end, it finalizes things. Okay? So I'm going to leave so I can exit out. Technically, it's still active. Students can still work. So what I'll do is I'll go to our one that we did together. I will end. I'll stop student paste. And I'm going to end session. I'm going to click publish student takeaways. So all of you are going to get an email with a document of your work in a little bit. Okay. So here, actually I'm going to, sorry. So here I can take that and I would share that all with you. I'll do that in a little bit, but I can go and find it for you and show you what it looks like. Takeaways. So now in my Pear Deck, it's made a new folder called Crash Course, which is the name of this title. And it'll take a little bit, but it'll start showing up. All the takeaways, all the items that you guys had. So we'll give it a little minute. We'll revisit that. So where was? Oh yeah, this one. Yours. Why do I have two of them open? Okay. So yeah, so that's all you'd have to do. Is you go to present that, you click turn on student paste, you give them the link, they're good to go. Then the dashboard. Where's the teacher dashboard? In my account, when you go to peardeck.com, if I log in and I go to my sessions, it shows me, all right, this is the live sessions I have going on. I had the Pear Deck crash course going on, right? The student paced one, that's the one that I just made that was fake. Status is student paced, so it's still going, right? I'm gonna give students time to do that. But then I can, on my dashboard here, after going to peardeck.com and sessions, I can say, all right, well, I don't have to actually access it to go change things. I can just turn off student pace if I want to, or, you know, if I assign these on Monday and it's Saturday, I'm like, all right, you got to do this by Saturday. On Saturday sometime, I'm going to be end the session and it's closed. And then I can publish those takeaways to the students from here as well. Right? Nobody was in this one, so nothing's really going to happen on this one. Yeah. So yeah, ready to publish takeaways? Sure. I'm not going to because again, no one was on this one. But that's how they can get their own work. See if this one has started to show up. Yeah. So here we go now. So it took a little bit of time, but all your work is here. Right. So I can go through. Right. You can find. You'd have to. I would share this link with you, and then you'd be able to go through and find yours, or I could share it individually to you, and you could go through and find yours, and you'd be able to access it, and then you could see what you wrote and get your answers back. Don't get that. Where was my login? Sorry, got so many things going on here. There we go. So yeah, so this is the dashboard. It shows you everything that was going on. Right, I ended that other session. That's fine. This one should be ended. Okay. Whoops. So on your screen now, with the student view, it's locked you out there. These other ones were just ones I started earlier and messed up. So I'm just going to end those because I don't need those going to confuse me later. And I can always go back to archives and I can find ones that I already did. And if I'm like, oh, you know what? I ended that too soon. So-and-so is still working on that. I can go back and say restore, and it will open it back up again for them. You know, I don't play around with it that much because usually if it's in class or with this asynchronous learning we're going to be doing, you know, it'd be too much to try to bounce back and forth and be like, oh, you need to go back and finish that, and we're on something else. It's going to be a lot to handle if I try to open things back up for the students and worry about if they're done or not and things like that, and then publish the takeaways again. So again, the more regimented, the more in sync, but yet out of sync we can be, the better off it's going to be to manage. You know, I'm not going to open these back up for anybody as we go along. I think I heard a beep for a question or comment. Can you have a mix of interactive? Oh yeah, definitely. You got a mix of interactive and non-interactive slides. So like these first ones, right? The first two slides that we went over, the intro, like that wasn't interactive. There's nothing interactive on here. It was just the usual slide. Same with the second one and the third one. These were all just informational. And I should share this all. I'll share that all BCS and BHS wide, so people who didn't join this or don't want to deal with it can just ignore it and delete it, and then you all can still have access to these slides. Do that right now before I forget. BCS and BHS. Okay. Pear Deck slide info for those who want it. Feel free to delete if you don't. So yeah, so you can have access to those. Obviously, it's not going to make a lot of sense for people who weren't in this session or don't watch this video about these other pieces. But these are non-interactive ones. The ones that are interactive, if you look here, this shows up. This little Pear icon at the bottom, that shows up. That tells me that's interactive. And they can tell me, write your response. So that's a text one. Drag the icon, so I know that's the drag one that I made for them. This one's choose an option, so that's a multiple choice one I made for them. If I delete this, I'm like, oh, I don't want that to be interactive anymore. I click on this because it's just an image and I delete it, it gets rid of the interactive piece. This is what Pear Deck uses to signal to itself that, hey, this is an interactive slide to allow the kids to do something. So when you're making things, don't delete that unless you absolutely don't want that to be interactive anymore, okay? And again, I can go to a slide, like, oh, I want this one to be interactive now. I can go back to here, the add-on, and just go to these options. And these options will make your slide that you're on interactive. It won't make a new slide for you. It adds it to your current slide, which is here now. Right, so that's there. So now this one's interactive. People could draw on the slide if they wanted to. But like, I don't want them to. I delete that off. Now it's not interactive anymore. Okay, so you do have some freedom there. You're not locked in. Again, I find it very useful because it's very smoothly integrated with Google Slides. Can you link videos? Yes, you can have videos just like any Google Slides. You could have videos in here, right? So I could either have a link to it, right? If I wanted to do a YouTube video, I could just put a link like everything, or I could actually have that video inserted on the slide and it could play. So let's say I actually have one here that I do with kids that has a video linked. Actually, wait, no, it's my demo one. It's all over the place. Shoot, I'll save you some time from having to watch me dig through things, but I do have one. What's the? Oh, it's on my other account. That's why. But yeah, you can have videos in there for students to view, just like you would inserting a video on a Google Slide. You know, they can click play and just see it themselves as well.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
So are you going to, well, first of all, thanks for doing this. This is awesome.
No problem. No problem.
Appreciate it. Are you going to like make a video explaining this to your students? Like, how are you going to, or are they used to it in some way because you use it in class?
That's the one thing. My students, we've used this in class, so they'll be familiar with it. So that part is a little bit easier for them. But as far as introducing this to students, if you haven't done it before, I know it's not advisable to introduce a lot of new things to kids right now, but obviously there's no choice in some cases. They're going to have to do something new if they haven't experienced it yet, and this, it's a tool that you're going to be relying on. But if they just give them the link, I mean, students are used to clicking on links. If you make a Pear Deck presentation here and you just send them the link, which automatically logs them in, like I showed, all they got to do is click that and they go through it. It's going to be somewhat self-explanatory. The first time might be a little bit rough. That's why I would recommend, just making your first one just something not academic related, just, hey, drag this or draw a face on this guy, or, write a response here. Something very low stakes for them to experience. And then, if you start with a drag or drawing slides and then go do a text slide or something like that, I think they'll get the idea of what to do. The biggest problem they'll probably have is like, oh, how do I save it? Or how do I, send it to you? And but maybe your slideshow, maybe your very first slideshow, if you're going to use this, is where you type on the very first slide saying, where does that go? Where you type the instructions and be like, hey, you don't have to worry about saving it. Just enter the stuff in and it'll get sent to me automatically. You can give instructions on the first few slides potentially. Or again, if you feel comfortable, if people are going to make videos of tutorials, they could. If people want to, if they're going to be useful enough, I don't mind. I'll make a tutorial video for the kids and explain it to them, and you guys can use that and post it on your first slide for them to see what they're going to do. I don't mind doing that at all for everybody. It's just a variety of whatever people want.
Thanks.
All right. Yep. Yeah, so I don't see any other questions as of right now. Hopefully I've addressed what people have on here. Again, you won't get, there'll be other things that come up, I'm sure, once you get into it. If you're going to try to use it and dig into it, you'll probably have questions, right? Just like anything, you don't really learn it well until you experience it and try it out. So if you want to try it out and you're like, oh, I need somebody to be a student so I can try things out, reach out to me. I don't mind. I'm not panicking that much with this stuff. You know, I'm feeling pretty confident with things that I have ready to go. So I've got time, and certainly willing to help out anybody who needs it to try things out. So if you guys want to reach out to me and be like, hey, can you just see if this self-paced, if I try to turn on send me the link, you know, I should say that you tried to turn on the student pace thing, and I'll go through it and tell you, and if it works or not, and play around with it. Whatever you guys need, feel free. I could be your guinea pig or make video for you or whatever it is. Yeah, so if there's nothing else, you know, I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff you might want to do, or if you need to just go and get it, let me know though. Feel free to reach out. Again, don't hesitate. You're not bothering me. I don't mind. Other than that, thank you guys for coming, and feel free to spread the word or let others know. And I'm gonna post this. I told Suzette that we need to find a place to be able to post some of these tutorials in a central place for everybody so they can access later if they need to. So hopefully we'll find some place for that, and you guys can let others know as well. Okay, other than that, you're all set. Thank you guys, and talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, thanks, Larry. We'll see you tomorrow, too.
Yeah,
Thanks,
cool.
Kate.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Thank
yep.
you.
Thanks. We'll see you.